We're back.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sports Med Bros podcast. We are welcomed on February 7th, 2026, by a very special guest. My name is Aaron Borgman. As always, I am welcoming my co host, Evan Kraft. And Ev, we have an additional participant
We
today.
do. This is my son, Winston. Can you say hi? Yeah. Look
There
at the
he is.
camera. There you
Yeah,
go. There
there
you go,
you
buddy.
go.
Yep.
It is episode 62, Ev. We are off and running on a Super Bowl Saturday matinee afternoon,
Yep.
whatever you call it. Listen, we're here to get this in before the big game. I don't think we have a ton of housekeeping to take care of from last week. I don't think I
No.
screwed up anything personally. The Super Bowl is here. We've done Super Bowl talk before, but at this point, like we talked about just off air just a moment ago, the hay is in the barn, Ev. There's not
Yeah.
a whole lot really to do at this point. I mean, everybody's going to play. You're in or you're out at this point. There's not. It is what it is. And for a lot of these individuals who may have never been in a game this big, obviously, you know how it is that the everything ramps up, right?
Yeah.
Everything is a little bit brighter. Everything is a little bit flashier. The waits have to be longer, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The pregame, the halftime, all that kind of stuff. But, I'm looking forward to a good game. I think personally, both of these teams play a brand of football that I kind of like: defense, run game, timely passing, that kind of thing. So I could definitely get down with that. What is your Super Bowl prediction?
I think the Seahawks have a great defense. And I think, honestly, from what I've seen in the past few weeks in the playoffs with Sam Darnold, I think his quarterback play is top notch. I
Yeah.
think Drake's in the AFC Championship was not. I know the conditions were not right. Obviously, they won the game. Their defense kept them in it, but I think it's going to be a defensive slugfest, honestly. But I think Sam is the better quarterback in that situation. Um, and his career arc, you've got to
Mm,
appreciate that. I
yeah.
mean,
So what a
as a
story.
kid that was a first round pick, he plodded around for years, and now he's in the situation that, I'm sorry, my son is trying to grab the computer, so if my image is moving, um, so he's in the situation he needs to be in, and it's going to be. I think he prevails. Honestly, they are the total team. They have the offensive weapons. They have the defense. The Patriots have the defense. They have Drake. I don't know if he has as many offensive weapons around him as Seattle does, but in the end, I think Seattle gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I looked at all the betting lines. There's a lot of money on Seattle to cover. Obviously,
Yeah,
that's the prevailing sentiment.
yeah,
I think that they might be the better overall rounded team.
yeah,
To your commentary, I do think the Patriots might be a year or two early, but credit to them for like
yeah,
riding this success. Um, you know, good luck. The only thing I think my whole point is good luck to the medical staffs. Everybody stay
yeah,
off the
yeah,
field. Everybody stay healthy. Shout out to all of our friends on both medical staffs out there.
yeah,
We are rooting for your successes no matter what. And
yeah,
what a cool thing, as you well know, to be a part of, somebody that gets a chance to be in the last
yeah,
game of the year. That's the cool
yeah.
part because so many
It's
people
very
don't
cool.
get that chance.
Yeah,
So,
it's very cool.
um,
It's a great experience.
I don't know, just real quickly, you've got your Indiana Hoosiers hat on. You
I
are
do.
Mr. Indiana at this point in time. I don't know if you
Yes.
noticed that my St. Louis Billikens continue to roll. We are happy to play anyone at any time. So the team update is, going well for both of us. Your Indiana football Hoosiers,
Yeah.
you've been a lifelong Hoosiers fan. My Billikens, things of that
Yes,
nature.
obviously.
So. But listen, hey, we're moving on. We've got one big injury to talk about this week. It's the injury the whole world is talking about. Lindsey Vonn, a very well decorated downhill skier. We talked about her in the fall when she decided to have a partial knee replacement. We talked about her last week when she announced that she tore her ACL. Since then, big things have come to pass that she is going to continue to race. She has
Yeah.
done several downhill, trials, time trials,
Yeah.
practice runs, and gotten faster every time. Ev, the world is asking, how is this possible? She doesn't have an ACL. And she's confirmed this, by the way, on socials from all the Twitter docs and things like that that were
Yes.
talking about conspiracies. Tell the people out there how a downhill skier can compete without an ACL.
You know, so this young woman has had multiple ACLs
Wait a
over the
minute.
course
Isn't
of her
she older
career.
than you?
Yes, but I'm still going to call her young woman.
She's
A
younger
lot of
than me,
a
so
lot of respect for Lindsay.
yeah.
She's had multiple ACL surgeries. She has a knee replacement in the opposite knee. So if anybody knows about her rehab process, it's her,
Sure.
right? I think you're are you friends with her PT?
Former PT, yeah.
Yeah, former PT.
Yeah.
So she knows the drill at this point. Um, she's got, we talk about, you and I have talked about pre-op ACL stuff. Like the more you do, the better you are going into surgery. So obviously she has that neuromuscular control
I think that's a big point. Keep going.
from previous injury, right? So she knows what she can and she can't do. Um, I've got a crying son over here. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So she she's done that before. She's had that experience. She knows that routine. So, I'm all for it, man. Let it rip. And it's probably going to be her last Olympics, honestly.
You would think so.
So, yeah, so let it go.
Well, and as you attend to that matter over there, I'll just kind of take the wheel here for a moment and say, I think it's one of those deals where obviously we probably believe that she is going to have surgery at some point to address this, right? She has had multiple surgeries. She is probably the strongest she's ever going to be for the rest of her life in her leg, her quad, her thigh, things of that nature. And so, listen, um, is doing sports activity on an ACL deficient knee common? Absolutely not. Is doing sports activity on an ACL deficient knee possible? I think that's the thing that most people don't realize, that there are, stories and chronicles of people doing this previously. This is hardly the first time. And I've personally seen it in football players a lot. I've seen it in some soccer players. Is it regular? Absolutely not. But can it happen? Yeah, for sure. Especially somebody who is as decorated as she is. She has done this more or at a higher level than most people in the entire world. This is an individual that has more experience with this type of stuff than anybody. And here's the thing: what it comes down to, and you made a great point about the neuromuscular, stabilization of the joint.
Yeah.
Her thigh is so strong. Even still, she posted a video of her squatting and doing exercise and doing some rehab, and she's braced up, which we know a brace can protect some, but not all, right? And the other thing that I think most people are missing is if she goes down again, that knee's already headed for surgery sometime in the near future
Yep.
anyway, so you're probably not
Exactly.
going to hurt it a ton worse.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, listen, I've never taken care of downhill skiers. I'm not here to minimize the effect or the need of an ACL in that activity. Is it important? Yes. Do I think an ACL is probably more important to somebody like an NFL wide receiver or an
Yeah.
NBA basketball player who's doing vastly more amounts of cutting and change of direction? Sure. That being said, I'm not saying that she doesn't need this to compete. Of course, it would help her knee stability.
Yeah.
I think this is an example where we can take a step back and look like, how much is the ACL going to impact her ability to put weight through her knee, right? And
Yeah.
that goes back to that neuromuscular firing situation that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Does she swell every time that she skis? So her quad tends to shut down. That's a bad deal. But
Yeah.
she's not cutting. She's not changing directions while she's bearing weight in different
Yeah.
planes, right? We're not jumping. We're not landing. There's some shock absorption for sure. And she
Yeah.
demonstrated that on her rehab video. I just think in some ways, not every way, that the role of the ACL in a downhill skier is minimized, not eliminated, Don't get on me. Don't come
Yeah.
after me, but minimized as compared to some other athletic sports that we see. Now, is it an amazing accomplishment? 1,000 billion% that she's able to do this. Do I think she is, capable of it? We're going to find out and see
Yeah.
how she
Yeah.
competes when, it's time to go. She's already proven that she can do training runs. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here for the story, man. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah. It's
I
awesome.
think, proving that you're just going to leave it all out there one last time, whatever hyperbole and metaphor you want to use. I think that's awesome. Um, Listen, I'm here for the story.
Yeah. It's great. And I think, another point to make is, skiing, if you look at the biomechanics of skiing, it's a lot of perturbations, right?
Yeah.
It's in that position. So if you're comfortable training in that position, then why not? Right?
Well, and
Why
she was
not?
even demonstrating some of that on her
Yeah.
rehab
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
And again, that goes back to quad control. That goes
Yeah.
back to
100%.
how dynamic can you get and still be strong in that position. If she had a patellar tendon injury, obviously it's different. A quad tendon, that's different too. I even
Yeah.
hypothesized to someone earlier this week that I think she might be worse off if she had a medial or a lateral collateral ligament
Yeah.
injury
Yeah.
as opposed to an ACL. Now, some skiing experts can come at me and educate me on that. But, with the ACL handling rotation and anterior posterior translation, is if you're going to tear one, is that maybe one of the better ones in skiing? I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe.
I don't know. Yeah.
Please, all you skiing experts, please come at us and
Please.
educate
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
So, take home message. I think it's fantastic. I love these stories when athletes are kind of bucking the trends and
Yeah.
kind of showing what they can do. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
100%.
Real quickly, in and out for the week. Obviously we're in on the Super Bowl. We've talked about that. The NFL posted something this week about the Rams and the 49ers will be playing a game next week or next season, excuse me, in
Next
Australia.
week. Next
Yeah.
week.
Well, the
Should be next week.
travel time will be about next week, but we are talking about 18-hour flights here, Ev,
Oh man.
from the West Coast to Australia to play a regular season NFL game. Then they proceeded to list all the other NFL games that will occur internationally. Listen, I don't think we have to go real deep here, but I think that one of the things that we are advocates of, obviously, is the player health and safety. I think excessive NFL travel in football games is against that hypothesis. Obviously, we see it a lot in other sports, soccer and basketball and things of that nature, but
Yeah.
not to the extent of the full-on collision sports
Yeah.
that we don't see it in rugby that much. We definitely don't see it
You
in
do see it
American
in
football.
rugby, honestly. You
That
do.
quick, that
Yeah.
far?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
traveling to different continents like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there we go. I've been
Sorry to
educated. No,
burst your
no,
bubble, but
no.
yeah, you
That's
do.
great.
Yeah.
Educate me.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the model they're following then, is the rugby
Yeah.
model. But I
Rugby
just,
doesn't play enough back-to-back games though
well, there you go.
at the pace of the NFL.
There you
So
go.
it's a little different, but
Okay.
there is that kind of travel involved, but they don't play the cadence that the NFL does.
Well, okay. So then once again, strengthening the point of this is a bit ridiculous
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
travel that much and then hope to play back-to-back games and have, under the umbrella of player health and safety. But, we've kind of railed on that in the past. I'm going to continue to do that. I just don't, I think this is an answer to a question that zero people are asking.
Yeah.
But, I don't think we're going to win, but I can still
Yeah.
talk about it and complain about
I
it.
I get they're building the brand, but like
Sure.
do it in the off season. Like do a something in the off season. I think that makes the most sense. Like I think the Rams went to Hawaii for their
Yeah.
OTAs or something. Like do something like that. I don't
Well,
think we need to take a meaningful game, a division game,
a division
might
game. Yeah.
might I add, that far away at the risk of player health and safety. It's just not, I get the whole business model, but it's not the guys aren't going to like it,
Well, the
honestly.
interesting
Like,
thing is the commissioner came out this week and said of all the guys that he's spoken to, that the NFL players actually appreciate the fact to play internationally because they feel like ambassadors of the game. I
Yeah.
actually spoke to 5 or 6 different NFL players this week, and it's pretty unanimous that players hate it, quite
Yeah.
frankly.
Yeah.
So,
It's the logistics of it. I mean, we've talked about it on here. The logistics of it, the lack of sleep, the getting up at, having to avoid naps when you get overseas. If you're traveling east, traveling west, nobody's traveled west yet. So that's a
well,
whole
they're going to put
different.
the supplies on the boat this week, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, exactly. So traveling west is a whole different ball game than traveling east. I've never been west of Hawaii, so
Right.
I don't know. You know, we'll see.
Well, one thing that I was in on this week, and I think you agree with, Joe Flacco, the quarterback, let me get this straight, for the Browns first last year, then of the Bengals, had some commentary this week on Radio Row. I don't know why he was on Radio Row, but he had some commentary this week. This is credit to Kevin Clark, of which I pulled this from. But it was all over the place. And basically, he gave like about a 3-minute interview about excessive penalties in the NFL, about how he didn't think roughing the passer penalties should be called with the frequency and at the timing that they are. He does not believe that they are appropriate in today's game. He also had some commentary on, quote, "We signed up to get hurt. You might not like that, but it's kind of what we did," quote. And that was
Yeah.
in response to all the new rules protecting quarterbacks and things of that
Yeah.
nature. And I had some commentary on it on social media this week, and I personally believe that when you legislate some of the key factors of the game out of the game, you have changed things for the worse. Do we
Yeah.
want protections? Yes. Do we want excessive injuries? No. But when you're taking things and taking it to the nth degree to try to legislate what the game is, well, then you fundamentally change the game, right? And that's not good either. Now, is the toothpaste going back in the tube? No, I don't believe so at all.
No.
I think all these changes are here to stay, but I did appreciate someone standing up and saying it. Please, any commentary there?
No, no, it's great. I mean, honestly, we talk about the demands of the game and the nature of the game and the violence of the game. Like
Yeah.
football is a violent game. It's not, it should not change from that. And that's why people watch football. And people are going to get hurt. You're going to see disgusting stuff. You and I have both seen it. You can make rules to the nth degree, but at some point, the physicality of the game has got to be at the core, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I appreciate what Joe said because he came into this league when it was very, that was kind of the mentality, right? It was
Yeah.
the mentality of like, hey, we're going to mess you up and we're going to be physical and we're going to run it down your throat, whatever. I mean, sorry, my son's playing with cars right here.
You're good.
Um, so that was kind of the MO at that time. And
Yeah.
it's slowly, progressively they've tried to make it safer. They've tried to with the special teams rules. By the way, I saw a tweet the other day that I think concussions doubled this year on special teams,
Yeah. I believe
which
it.
or kickoffs, which they were trying to eliminate. So
Well, and taking into context, they doubled from last year when they were down because no one returned kickoffs last year.
yeah, yeah, and now people are doing it. So
Sure.
what what do you do in that situation?
Well, you listen, I think we can, crow as much as we want about
Yeah,
the status of the game changing. It's only going to continue to go further down that avenue.
yeah, yeah,
I don't
100%.
think that's changing anytime soon. So I just
Yep.
appreciated somebody stepping up and saying something.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, moving along real quickly, we got Social Sports Med Post of the Weeks, and we got some really interesting ones here. This comes courtesy of Brenna Green. This is talking about the men's basketball coach for the University of Portland, Ev. His name is Shante Legans, or Legans. I apologize to Shante if I mispronounced that. Apparently, there were so many players sick this past week that the University of Portland men's basketball coach had to play scout team. And he says, or this person says, it did not go well. He tore his Achilles in practice. So this
Oh yeah.
gentleman, they got a picture here of him coaching on the sidelines in a hard cast. He had yet to have surgery. The interesting part was that he was going to sit all night, apparently, when they played Gonzaga the other night. And apparently he did not sit at all. And funnily enough, Ev, they knocked off Gonzaga the other night. So,
That's great.
kind of a cool story. Now,
Yeah.
so the athletic trainer on that team on Portland, University of Portland, will be taking care of him, I would imagine, as soon as he decides to get that repaired. We'd love to talk to that individual if anybody knows the athletic trainer for the University of Portland men's
Yeah.
basketball team.
Yeah.
But cool story. I thought it
Cool
was really
picture
cool. Yeah,
too.
it is a cool
Him,
picture.
him, him standing up with the cast on, like cheering the guys on. So
The
very
part that
cool.
I liked, I believe, if correct me, University of Portland, are they the Raiders? Or is that
I
Portland
don't know
State?
the answer to that.
Anyhow, the cast is purple. I believe that's their school colors as well. So
Yeah.
anyway, love to see that. We'd love to talk to anybody involved with it. Please reach out
Yeah.
if you know anybody there. Now, Ev, the next social sports med post caught fire this week, and I don't think it was what they expected it to be. The New York Times put out an article that was quoting The Athletic. This is regarding the Winter Olympics, which have started, if anybody doesn't know that.
Yes. Yeah.
Reports have surfaced before the Winter Olympics that allege ski jumpers are injecting themselves in a certain very sensitive spot uh, with hyaluronic acid to fly farther.
Yeah.
WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Agency, has vowed to investigate. Now, I read this article. Apparently, all ski jumpers' uniforms are measured via very high-tech scanning, and they all have to be the exact same for competition purposes. So the thought process was to inject your body in a certain sensitive place for ski jumping that affects drag and lift when you were getting scanned as a way to benefit you when you were actually competing. Now,
Yes.
I I am not a rocket scientist. I know next to nothing about drag and lift. Of the two of us, you are the aviation nut. Um, I don't know how to take this. I just don't see how it's possible that these athletes were injecting their, we're just going to say male genitalia
Yeah, I was gonna.
to
Yeah,
influence future drag and lift. Please, your commentary on what seems like a sports medicine adjacent issue.
yeah. Um, I don't have a ton of commentary on this, except for drag and lift. Obviously, the air flows faster underneath. If you're thinking about from a lift perspective, we talk about an aerofoil, which is ideally my son's getting excited.
It's an
Ideally
exciting
the
story.
shape of a wing. The top of the wing has more surface area, the bottom of the wing has less, so the air flows faster under the bottom of the wing versus the top of the wing. So I got to think that, if we're increasing the surface area of the lower part, I don't know if that makes more sense. It's a little bit of a physics conundrum there. So any of our biomechanical listeners, please, please educate us on how this improves lift in the ski jump. Um, but other than that, I don't have a ton of
Would
commentary on
I
injecting your genitalia for improved benefits. I
would
don't know.
you volunteer as a sports medicine expert to do said injecting?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I will
I just
not.
thought, I mean, how could you let this story go and not talk about it, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it was pretty. I mean, it's been rampant on social media too.
Oh man.
Like it's been a huge story on social media. So, um, again, from my very basic knowledge of aviation, from my father, who was an aeronautical engineer, that I'm sure if he was still alive, he would come on here and explain the
Well,
whole conundrum to us.
that's why
So,
we bring the pressing issues to you
yeah,
at the
yeah,
intersection of sports medicine and aviation, which of
yeah.
course there are so many things that intersect there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but speaking of taking social media by storm, Ev, our good friends at the Cookie Society are doing that very thing this week. They have
Yeah.
announced 4 new flavors. By the way,
Oh boy.
that was a good transition. I'm just going to say.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Um,
was.
it is time. We have the king cake, Ev. We have the chocolate silk pie. We have the red velvet cream cheese frosting and the creme brulee cookies, all new this month. Our good friends Jeff and Marissa Allen down in the DFW area are doing it as always. Please go check them out, cookiesociety.com. Listeners of the Sports Med Bros get a 10% discount code,
Yes.
SportsMedBros10, all one word, the number 10. And go ahead, get your cookies. Listen, New Year's resolutions have been broken already. You
Yeah.
also need to celebrate the impending king cake season as
Oh
far as
yeah. Mardi
Passover.
Gras.
Yeah, Mardi Gras. Like, listen, it's time, right? So go ahead and visit our friends at the Cookie Society if you would, please. Um, I got on the website this week just to check out the new flavors, and I was like, holy cow, they really are releasing a
They
bunch
upped their
this week.
game. Yeah.
So we do have a mail hole submission, Ev, this
All
week.
right.
We
What do you
asked
think
for it.
about
Go
Cookie
ahead.
Society, Winston? Sorry to
No,
interrupt you.
no.
Yeah.
He's frustrated that
Go
you don't
ahead.
have as many in your house as you
That's
should.
right. That's right.
Mail hole submission. Obviously, if you are not familiar with the mail hole, it is completely anonymous. Send us questions, commentary, give us something to make us laugh, give us something to make us think. Here's a submission. It said, "Hey guys, just listened to last week's podcast and was interested when Evan spoke to a young AT and said he tried to keep her in athletic training instead of getting her PT degree. Is there any advantage to not going for a PT degree once you are an AT, or is it good to become a PT as well? I'd be interested just to hear about what you guys think are pros and cons of each option." We thank that person for their mail hole submission, and
Yeah.
I think above anybody else we know of, we might be the most well suited to discuss this issue.
Yeah. 100%.
Go for it.
Um,
You go
you
first.
know, it was not a knock on PT. It
Sure.
was not a knock on any other profession. I think we need to keep athletic trainers in their context as much as we can. This young lady her rotation was at a high school, and she particularly didn't enjoy that, which we support high school athletic trainers. We know the demands that they have. They don't do as much rehab and treatment as you and I would do for a
Sure.
professional team or for a college team, given the numbers that they have. Obviously, they have a very stressful job. They deal with it's sometimes one person to 300 to 400 to even more athletes. So they don't get to get themselves in that kind of context, right? So my point was not so much discouraging her from a PT degree, but encouraging her to stay in athletic training because of the vast amount of settings that we have. I think there's obviously you are duly credentialed and are great at what you do. And there's so many other things that,
Depends on who you ask.
yeah, there's so many other things that PTs learn about that aren't taught in athletic training curriculums.
Oh,
And there's many things that athletic trainers do that PTs can't do.
sure.
It's not a knock on either profession.
No.
It's just kind of the reality of the situation. So my point was to not let one experience dilute her from the entire athletic training realm in that sense. But a PT credential is equally as important, right? And you can speak more to that than I
Well,
can.
I, I just really think it depends on what you're looking for, right? I went to PT school because I was very intrigued with the more in-depth rehab aspect of things. And I quickly found out, especially once I got out of school, that there are, despite, my education, which I also became athletic training certified and credentialed through school as well, that there are athletic trainers that could out rehab me, you know, despite the different methods of educating, right? And so um, I got dual credentialed because I wanted to do a little bit in both worlds. I think that most athletic trainers are far vastly superiorly suited for acute care, on-field care,
Yeah.
emergency care, first line triage care, whatever you want to label that as. That is the beauty of the athletic training profession.
Yeah.
Um, I would tell you most physical therapists are not prepared for that and are not educated for that, nor
Yeah.
should they be. I mean, that's the difference in the professions, right? I would say that most athletic trainers who want to focus mostly on sports settings, although we are seeing more educational settings, we are seeing more industrial settings, more corporate settings, things of that nature, but there's not the breadth of the physical therapy profession with things like pediatrics or
Yeah.
bariatrics or geriatrics, all the atrics, or
Yeah.
neurocare, or it's just it's a wider swath of individuals than what athletic training education generally prepares you for. Now, as an athletic trainer, you can get specialized certifications in a million things and then go off from there. I think it just really truly depends on what setting you're most interested in.
Yeah.
And I think there's advantages and I can say this as a person who's got two hats on. There's advantages and disadvantages to both settings. I love them both and hate them both equally on different times, right? And so, that being said, that doesn't make one superior to the other. I infinitely learned more being in an athletic training room setting than I feel like I learned in actual PT school. But that's because I wanted to focus on athletics and sports and high level stuff there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't know that there's a great answer, and this debate is as old as time. I don't think it does anybody any good to, kind of bemoan one profession over the other because there's certain things that, each profession can't do that the other side can't.
Yeah.
So I think it just really depends on what people are looking for. I don't know if
Yeah.
you have any further commentary there or not.
No, I'll tell you as an athletic trainer, as a young athletic trainer who as a GA was kind of raised in a at Iowa State with Coberly, like a very rehab centric program, and then
Yeah,
going to East Carolina where it was two athletic trainers versus 130
the
guys
world.
where you don't have that same philosophy, and then going to the NFL again with a very, very, very rehab centric, including you. I give you credit for that, for teaching me a lot of the very exercise based philosophies, especially with professional athletes.
Sure.
It's you as you venture into different realms, you kind of encounter those different philosophies and then adapt those to yours. So I think you have to be open minded in terms of like, hey, what is my context? What is my situation?
Sure.
And how do I adapt to that? Because you're not going to work in high school and be a rehab centric athletic trainer. It's just not, sometimes it's not possible.
It's
There are
tougher.
some that are, but in the general consensus of it, it's not that way. So when you
Well,
get to different areas, you adapt what you've learned and you adapt what you know, and then you can grow yourself from there. So go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just going to say, I think the system works the best when we don't step on each other's toes,
Yeah.
right? And we don't
Yeah.
think that we're superior to another profession. I can tell you that there are athletic trainers that can out rehab me, and there are physical therapists that can out athletic train me,
Yeah.
right? And that's an experience thing more than anything, right? And so, I don't care what credentials are behind your name. I don't care how many years you went to school. I don't care if you have a DAT or a DPT. Listen, what matters is the goal that you're trying to achieve being accomplished,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's all that really matters in either profession. Are you being the best version of yourself, kind of thing?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, I think it's a personal choice, and I'm not here to bemoan or put down the other side of the equation, no matter what it is. But I do know that, you have to be, once you choose one side or the other, you have to be okay with, other people that may not, have made that choice and went the other
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah.
And man, just stick to the thing that you're good at, kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. 100%.
We all have things that we're good at.
Yeah.
I've always said that out of anybody I ever met, that you were the most dedicated and like hardcore proponent of the athletic training. Like if I ever had an NFL team, as if I was ever going to be the head of an NFL team, I would have hired you to be the head athletic trainer in a heartbeat. And I
I
just do
appreciate
like
that.
the admin stuff because
Yeah.
you are so much better at that stuff than I am. Um, I'll do all the wound care. You do all the everything else because I was good at wound care. But so anyway, that's just a little offbeat, off topic. But listen, we don't have any products to spotlight this week. We would love it if you would give us some products to spotlight. We
Send
are
them in.
constantly
Yeah.
looking at new and interesting things to discuss. Please send them in. We are going to land this plane very quickly. Another aeronautics discussion for you, Ev. Winston has given us more than enough of his time and efforts and attention. What have you got going on besides the Super Bowl party, Ev, this week?
You know
Anything?
what? You know what I'm going to do this afternoon is I bought a 20 by 25 poly tarp. I'm going to build an ice rink in my backyard.
Love that for
Home
you.
ice rink. Yeah.
Love that.
So
Love that.
we're going to get the hose out. Hopefully a pipe doesn't burst in the process. If it does, we are screwed. But yeah, that's my afternoon project once the girls get home from a birthday party. So
Nice. Well, we've got a wrestling tournament tomorrow morning before the Super Bowl. We've got Super Bowl food to make. The weather is nice here. We're getting out in a little bit of
that's what I've
golf
heard.
time, a
That's
little
what
bit
I've
of golf
heard.
time this upcoming week.
Yeah.
So that's what we got. But listen, we are going to watch the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about any injuries that come from it next week, and then we will be shutting the door on football for a little while.
Yep.
So please send us in some injuries that you want us to talk about in other sports that we might not see ourselves. Give us some ideas about what you want to talk about. We're going to sign up some more people here as far as interviews go to have on the
Yep.
podcast in the next month or so. But that's about all we have for today. Ev, any parting words before we sign off?
No, thank you for joining us this afternoon. A little matinee edition
We
with
appreciate
the young
everybody's
man.
attention. We appreciate everybody's patience this week as we are constantly battling through scheduling stuff and kids and things like that. But we got it in. Gosh, dog it.
We got it. Yep, we got it.
But everybody have a great week. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and we will see you next week.
All right. See you guys.